and you're listening to WITZ, the WITZ, the one place for all things music, art, and performance right here in Douglas County, Oregon. We have a lot of great sponsors today. Our first sponsor, a brand new one, it's called New Visions Eye Care. I'm just going to read this description to you. New Visions Eye Care offers comprehensive eye care services and in-demand lenses and frames to Roseburg and the surrounding communities. Click or call to connect and access the quality of vision care you deserve. A brand new sponsor. We're really happy to have New Visions Eye Care. Go get your eyes checked out. I know I might need to someday. Right now I can see pretty well, so we'll just wait on that. This broadcast is also brought to you by 10 Down Bowling, who's been a great supporter of the show for a long time. Throw the ball down the lane. Go get a drink or a snack, or just play games at the arcade. You want to check out 10 Down Bowling and Splits Bar and Grill. This recording is also brought to you by Edward Jones. Go check out what they do. Financial responsibility is your responsibility, and Edward Jones can help. Check them out as soon as you can. This recording is also brought to you by the Gene Bechtel School for Music, Spiderking Studios, and the Douglas County Music Association. Let me tell you a little bit about where your money goes when you donate to the Douglas County Music Association. $100 for the whole year will ensure that we have scholarships available for students. $500 will ensure that we have instruments and studio space for students to practice and get lessons. And of course, $1,000, I know, stiff, but it's all good. $1,000 will make sure that we are able to support UACT, the UVA, the Gene Bechtel School, Spiderking Studios, and of course, all of the education communities in Douglas County, including places like Oakland, Riddle, Myrtle Creek, and all of the other small towns in Douglas County. Just in case the audience doesn't know, we don't just serve Roseburg. It seems like it because this is where we are, but it's not true. We actually want to start reaching out to the music people and art people in the smaller areas. We want them on the show. We want to hear about their programs, and we want to advertise for them. If you're listening to this show and you've never sent us a message or an email, you really need to, because we want you on the show. If you've already been on the show, why don't you just wait? Why don't you wait a year? Give us a year to get some fresh faces on the program. But until then, keep watching the show, keep doing what you're doing. I have noticed that the fabulous Del Montes is gigging every weekend. And it's interesting because I never heard of these guys until we had them on the show. So I think that's a great thing. They came on, they played, and now they're gigging and playing, and I'm loving every second of it. So thanks for being on the show. If you want to be on the show, or if you have any questions or want to, get a scholarship, you can send an email to oregondcma@gmail.com. That email address is going to change once the website is ready, which it almost is, by the way. And you can also, if you are ready to donate now, which we need your help. We need your help. So please, if you have $1, $2, $5, or any time, remember, your money does not go to my pocket. It goes to support all of these people in programs, including sponsoring young musicians, providing scholarships, instruments, recording space, studio space, all of that stuff. And near the end of this episode, I'll talk about a big fundraiser show coming up. So you'll want to stick around for that. Please send us an email at oregondcma@gmail.com. The scholarship form, if you need a scholarship, is on the Facebook page. Go search files. It's the only file that's currently there. Fill it out in its entirety. I have received 1 scholarship so far. I would like some more. And when we have scholarships available, especially specific ones, we'll let you know, and we'll do an application-based audition, and we'll go from there. We'll go talk to the board, and it'll be fine. Don't worry about it. And now for some old news. Our fundraiser for the Gene Bechtel School is over. We were able to raise $350. We did not hit our goal, but guess what? Anything helps. And so for all of you who donated, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. We will be giving that check to Michael as soon as possible, and we'll get those repairs taken care of. Nobody likes to have their stuff broken into. It's a travesty, and it's such a pain to fix and clean and figure out what went wrong and blah, blah, blah. And so thank you for all of your donations. This will be the last donation we make to the Gene Bechtel School for quite a while. We've been helping them out with scholarships and, of course, studio space. But we're going to be continuing to move forward, so thank you for all of your support. I also want to give a shout out to you, the audience. I know, I should have done this a long time ago, and I'm sorry. I meant to do this earlier. We have over 400 members on our Facebook page. That's phenomenal. Now, I'd like to thank Jake Tranter and Michael Wheeler for doing that, for inviting all those people. I've also invited people. If you've joined our Facebook group, you're the best, and you rock. Now, what we're going to do eventually, once the website is open, we're going to keep our Facebook page, guys. We're not getting rid of Facebook. As much as a lot of people don't like it, we're not getting rid of it. But we're going to move in the direction where the website, if you become a member, there are certain perks you can receive, depending on the amount you donate for your membership. We're still figuring all that out, but my idea is basically $10 gets you a basic membership where you're gonna get kind of a card, and it's gonna get you into all these different events at kind of a discount. It wouldn't be a lot because you only gave $10, which is still important and we still need that. But as you give more and more and more, your perks increase. Just as an example, if you gave $100, you could get into 2 shows for free, like especially the big ones. If you gave $500, you can get into 6 months of shows for free, and you can even get a free dinner. And so we're working all that stuff out. We're a baby nonprofit. We'll get there, but you'll want to stay tuned for all of that important information. So thanks for being on the Facebook page. You rock. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, I guess. Check out the YouTube channel. And the thing is, guys, if you don't like something we're doing and you don't tell us, we'll never be able to fix it. I can't read minds. And the thing is, the comment section, I know some people like to get mad on the comment section and blast people. We're not looking for that. But if you're not happy, if you are happy, let us know. If we don't know, then we can only assume. So please feel free to comment, like, share, subscribe on our Facebook page, and let us know how we're doing. The fabulous Del Montes, my men. These nice guys. They actually did a show at Urban Pizza this Saturday. Thanks for doing that, boys. At North 40, Deborah Kay and Jason Heald also played together, and they played at North 40 Beer Company, and I love that group. And of course, at Umpqua Family Farmers Market, the Sunny Sky Boys played, and that was all on Saturday. So it sounds like after all of the St. Patty's Day stuff is over and we had a kind of a lull, we're getting some more shows. So you'll want to stay tuned for more performances coming up. And now it's time for some reviews. I'm gonna make this part short because I went kind of long last time, and I apologize, but didn't have a guest, so I talked longer than normal. But I want to talk about, so I'm an elementary school music teacher, and I want to talk about conferences. Now, the schedule right now is we would teach from like 8 to 2:30 for early release, and then we have to stay until 8 o'clock to do conferences. And then we had to put in a 12-hour day on Thursday to talk to everybody else. Now, specials teachers don't always see families, especially where in my classroom, I'm gonna try to explain this to you. If the school is here, if this is the school I teach at, my music classroom is over here. So it's not convenient to get to. It's not a fun walk or anything. Parents usually come in, want to get yelled at by teachers so they can yell at kid. I'm just joking. But parents come in, they hear the story, and they're done, and I totally get it. I broke my record this year. I had 25 people come and visit me. My last record was 8. The record before that was 2. And it was fantastic. Those 2 people, love you guys. Appreciate you coming by. 25 people came to see me this year, and man, I'm telling you, it made my day go by so much faster. So if that was you, appreciate that. If that wasn't you, come see me next year. Come see me next conference. We'd love to have you in my classroom. It was Easter weekend. We had a Good Friday service. Now, I also want to take this time to be honest with the audience, and that you should know that I'm a Christian. You should probably know that. And, it's not, please don't take it the way like, well, I'm projecting my religion on others. I'm really not a big fan of that. In fact, I'm highly against it. But you guys should know because we're getting to know each other. You've been viewers of the show, and I appreciate that. So I am at the North Umpqua Bible Fellowship. That's where I go. That's my church. I play drums every week. So I play drums on Friday, and I play drums on Sunday. And I really like playing drums for my church. And I really like the church band that plays. It's a good, wholesome event. I would encourage anybody to come by for a Sunday service just to check it out. And if you don't like it, that's great. I'm just glad you came by, and you're always welcome to come and see me. I teach Sunday school too, so I'm very involved in the church stuff. I like Easter, but I can sometimes get the stress that Easter kind of brings with it, because depending on who you are, Easter could be a really important holiday to you for this reason, or Easter could be a really important holiday for you for this other reason, and sometimes those things don't mesh. For example, like Easter egg hunting as opposed to church service, and everyone does their own thing. I'm kind of a fan of both, but I have bad news for you. I got sick on Easter Sunday. I was at service and I played my show, and like, ooh, my belly's not feeling good. I think I just had something bad to eat. I don't know, or maybe I was sick, but I went down. I missed Easter dinner. I was not happy. It was a whole array of chow, and I was not happy. So Easter Sunday, I went down. I slept the whole day, and it was awful. And so that was my Easter. So thanks for listening to that. I appreciate that. Hey, check this out. Calling all teens. I read about this last week, and we're gonna have a big thing right here. It's this huge document. There's all these dates here you'll wanna check out as soon as you can. It's a lot of stuff. Last week I read the whole thing to you. This week I'm not going to. You can read the document yourself and you can decide which clinics you're going to go to. I actually really encourage, if you're a teenager that's interested in filmmaking, Nicole, excuse me, I'm sorry, I had a cough there. If you were interested in being a film person or being on camera or doing anything related to film, you should really check this out. Check out the schedule, pick the days that work for you, try to go to every session. It's not too late. You'll want to check out this amazing opportunity today. And don't forget, there's jam nights. I talk every week about jam nights. There's Tuesdays at Sunnyside. I've been to Sunnyside. It's awesome. I can't wait until Carvin Jones comes back. I'm going to try to get Carvin on the show. Super cool guy. Pretty loud show. Whatever. I had a good time. It was fun. So check out Tuesdays at Sunnyside. That is from 6 to 10 open mic. And of course, Thursdays at Draper's. That's also 6 to 10 open mic. Now, if you don't know where these places are, I'll explain it to you. Sunnyside Theater and Draper's are basically neighbors in downtown. So if you're in downtown Roseburg and you don't know where Draper's is, go to where Bricks is and just look around. You'll see it. It's right there. Of course, Google Maps. I keep saying MapQuest. What's MapQuest? Google Maps. You should be able to find it just fine. And as I find out about more improv, like apparently Oran Moore Meadery is also doing improv. Once I have their schedule, I'll make sure that you know so you can go improv. You probably heard about this, but Sean Shea has actually been hired at UCC to teach his songwriting workshop. So I don't know if he still does the Universalist Unitarian Congregation of I always forget, I always say that right. Though Sean may or may not still be doing that on second Wednesdays. If he is, I apologize for getting this wrong. But if he's not, then I'm glad I didn't say anything. But he's now teaching a class at UCC. Go to our Facebook page and see the links that Sean has posted. If you really want to be a part of some positive songwriting and you don't want to go to the Universalist Unitarian Congregation, then check out his UCC coursework. Sean's a really nice guy, so go check that out. Coming up, I'm just going to read this to you because it's kind of long, so here we go. Join us for 2 additional showings of Trial by Fire. Maybe that's not how it goes. But that's April 15th. That's this Saturday at 6 p.m. and also Sunday matinee at 1 p.m. If you missed Trial by Fire, a pretty cool movie about veterans and PTSD. It's very serious. And Mr. Jake Tranter stars. I forget the name of the character, but you know, he's a pretty good actor, and I'm really excited for you to go see this show. And I have a DVD of all of the shows, all the movies that Spiderking has made, so I'm gonna be buying this DVD too to stack my collection. But if you want to see the film, that will be at the Umpqua Unitarian Universalist Congregation where the songwriting clinic was. And of course, Google Maps where the congregation is, just in case you get lost. But you'll definitely want to check that out. That's Trial by Fire. I am certain to some extent that these will be the last public showings for a while. So get there if you can. Admission is free, but donations are accepted. And donations really help these young companies move forward. Consider donating today, please. You can swing into spring with the Umpqua Singers. And I'll read this to you too, why not? This is April 14th, so this is also coming up. I believe that's this week at 7 o'clock at the Whipple Fine Arts Center in the UCC campus. The Umpqua Singers, under the direction of Jason R. Heald, will present a program of high energy music, including jazz standards. Did I say Jason R. Heald? Wow, let's go back. The Umpqua Singers, under the direction of Dr. Jason A. Heald, I got mixed up there, my bad. We'll present a program of high energy music, including jazz standards, funk, R&B, and contemporary selection. Admission is $10 at the door. Please bring cash. Come on, guys. Please bring cash. And try to bring the exact amount. I can't break a 50. Well, no, don't bring a 50, guys. $10. Make it all ones. Have some fun. Bring in the ones. Students are free. I wonder if staff is free. I would hope so. But if not, I'll donate anyway. For more information, you can contact 541-440-4691, or you can email music@umpqua.edu. I haven't talked about this yet. This is even longer than the other two. Here we go. Way Back Recording and the Sunnyside Theater proudly present Robert Wynea of Floater. If you don't know Floater, go look him up. Floater is a great band that's been around for a long time. At Sunnyside Theater is Saturday, April 28th. That's the Wizard of Oz auditions, by the way, at least one of the times. But that Saturday, April 28th, Robert Wynea of Floater is going to be there. And actually, If you don't know anything about Robert, I'll tell you. Robert is a singer-songwriter and multi-instrumentalist from Eugene, Oregon, renowned for his poetic lyricism as both a solo performer as well as the lead singer of the 2017 Oregon Music Hall of Fame inductee rock band Floater, with whom he has toured extensively and recorded 8 studio albums. Oh, I missed a part here. He also released 2 studio albums, Iron by Water and Brave the Strange. So you'll definitely want to check that out. I mean, this sounds like a really, really good guy. So please go check out. Now, Rob is also known for his ambient spoken word recordings and the author of Night Walks, as well as the co-host of the podcast Igniter with bandmate Mark Powers. That is a lot of stuff. And I apologize if I'm looking at this abysmal space over here. My goal is that everything I have to read will be in front of me, so I'm not looking over here. It should be right in front. We'll get there when we get there. But you guys, that's April 28th. It's a couple weeks out. You'll definitely want to check out that guy from Floater, Robert Wynea, and of course, Mark Powers. Check out all of their stuff. Hey, save the date. This is really short. May 8th. Not this month, but next month, May 8th, the Delgani String Quartet is going to be in Roseburg. The details are still being formulated. I just saw a poster the other day. So stay tuned, the Delgani String Quartet, you won't want to miss that. A beautiful string quartet, also from Eugene. I'll have more details as they become privy to me. The Sunnyside Theater on May 11th at 7 p.m., we have another artist. Now, this is kind of a doozy. A 5-time Grammy award-winning musician named David Arkenstone will also be in our area at the Sunnyside Theater May 11th at 7 p.m. The 7 p.m. show times, I get, you do your thing. That's a little late for me. I'm also kind of early. I go to bed at like 8 p.m. I know. What? Yeah, I do. I'm kind of a early to bed kind of guy. If you don't know anything about David Arkenstone, again, a 5-time Grammy award-winning musician with over 100 million Spotify streams, David's music holds something for everyone from first note to last. Go listen to David Arkenstone on Spotify and get an idea, and come to the Sunnyside Theater May 11th at 7 p.m. You won't want to miss this. And now for the biggest event so far. Congratulations to the DCMA for putting together their very first fundraising concert. You won't want to miss this. Put this on your calendar, please. Friday, June 2nd. That's right. Friday, June 2nd at 6 p.m. in Jacoby Auditorium, we are going to be hosting 2 pianists. One is Julianne Shepard, and the other one is Ciro Magnani. These are 2 outstanding piano players from Eugene, and they're going to be playing 2 grand pianos next to each other in Jacoby Auditorium. And the thing is, renting the auditorium is very expensive, but it's worth it. My request is $20 suggested donation per group. Now, a group, in my opinion, could be 3 or 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people. If you're going to bring a group larger than that, then I request to please bring more. The idea of the nonprofit is to help earn money so we can support the community. And the cost of everything it's not outrageous, that's not what I'll say, it's quite fair. But since we're so young, it's not gonna hurt us, but it might set us back a little bit. The idea is if we can get 100 families to show up to this big concert in June, we may actually be able to make a little bit of money so we can actually continue to help. It costs money to rent the theater, it costs money to advertise, and it certainly costs money to have musicians come and perform. This will be one of the biggest events of the year. You definitely don't want to miss the dueling pianists play Gershwin, Beethoven, and others. I heard they're going to play Rhapsody in Blue on 2 grand pianos. If there was any reason to go to a concert in this town, in my opinion, you would want to hear Rhapsody in Blue played on 2 grand pianos. The only other option that I can imagine is an orchestra playing it, 2 orchestras with 2 grand pianos and an accordion player. Why not? You definitely want to please come to this amazing concert. If you come by yourself, $5, fine. And of course, all donations will be accepted no matter what you give. We'll have a cash thing. We're going to try to have a credit card thing as well. And of course, a QR code with our Venmo account if that's easiest for you. And even if you don't want to give anything, we'll just have you. We just want as many people to show up as possible. Please consider coming to our big concert Friday, June 2nd with the dual pianists, Julianne and Ciro. And now our feature presentation. We have some amazing special guests on the program. We have Sam Starns, who's coming up next, and we're going to show a little slideshow of what she's working on. We also have Emily Cochran and Stacey Atwell Keister, the two middle school choir directors right here in Roseburg, and they have a show coming up called The Descendants, which is also happening in April, as well as Midsummer Night's Dream, which I can't wait to have all of these interviews, so check this out. It is my distinct honor and privilege to welcome Miss Sam Starns to the show. Sam, welcome.
Thanks, guys, for having me.
And I really appreciate you, and I know you're very busy. In fact, why don't we just start from the top? Sam, for the audience who doesn't know you, why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and all that stuff.
All the good stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I was born and raised in Roseburg and lived in a bunch of different places and came back, and now I run my own business here. I photograph adventure elopements, but I've been involved in the theater here and the music community for, oh man, probably 20 plus years now. So.
And you said you born and raised here?
Yep, born and raised here.
Now, that's incredible. Have you been here the whole time? Did you ever leave? Or?
Yeah, so I went to college at Portland State as well as University of Oregon. Then I studied abroad in France for a while.
Nice.
And then was a park ranger and a whale watching naturalist on the Oregon coast. So
cool.
Yep, and then moved back here.
So, and you said born and raised, and by that, does that mean also music since then?
Yeah, I started music in 5th grade when the band director came to our school and said, hey, do you want to try instruments? And I started flute, and then I quickly transitioned into oboe and tenor sax, and from there it just kind of grew into whatever was needed.
Do you still play all those instruments, or you still play music, or?
Not nearly as much anymore, just because I'm so busy, but
Right.
Whenever the orchestra pit needs me or whenever I'm needed, it's typically reed 1 in the orchestra pit, so saxophone, oboe is really, really common, as well as flute.
And you don't play with any orchestras in town by any chance?
Not right now. I did play with the chamber orchestra for a while, but then conflicts arose, and if I ever have free time, I'm back at it.
And that was an excellent biography, and I really appreciate that. But for the audience who doesn't know, why don't you tell the audience what you're doing right now? Because there's something big that's happening.
Yeah, so right now I am directing a show at Umpqua Actors Community Theater off Harvard Avenue. And the show is William Shakespeare's A Midsummer Night's Dream that
Yes.
I'm very, very excited about.
Now, I've been saying that name wrong ever since, and I can't ever seem to get it right. But for anybody that doesn't know Shakespeare, what's just a general story of the play, just so people know?
Oh man, so this is one of Shakespeare's comedies, and if you can think of Love Actually, and bear with me for a minute. So Love Actually has a lot of different characters that are seemingly not connected to each other. So we have the fairy king and queen that are fighting. We have a duke and duchess, or a duke and a queen actually, who's marrying below her station. And they are getting married. And then we also have lovers that are star-crossed, and there's some unrequited love. And then there's also a bunch of rude mechanicals, which are people who just, are tradespeople. And they all end up sort of crossing paths with some other people in the middle of an enchanted forest late one night. There's magic flowers that make you fall in love with people, and there is a guy who has, he gets a head of a donkey, and the fairy queen falls in love with him. So,
Nice.
But spoiler alert, they all live happily ever after at the end.
Oh,
so.
right. 'Cause so for those of you who don't know Shakespeare, just for the audience who doesn't know, what time period was Shakespeare writing plays? So how old is this play?
So Shakespeare was writing plays. He was born in the 1560s, and he was writing plays a lot in the 1590s. This play was actually written in 1593 to 95, give or
Nice.
take, and they suspect it was written around the same time as Romeo and Juliet, because you can actually see similar themes in Midsummer Night's Dream itself.
So it sounds like what you're saying is this play is over 500 years old or close to it.
Yes, it is very old, and it survives for a reason.
And we were talking before we started filming, and you were talking about like the Roseburg audience and how Roseburg and Shakespeare may not always get along. Can you dive more into that? Like, why do you think that? You might not be wrong. You might actually be completely correct about that. But why would the Roseburg audience be like, oh, Shakespeare? I'm not sure about that.
Roseburg, in my experience being with UACT for about 10 years now, I have experienced that Roseburg doesn't have the opportunity to get out and experience a lot of different things, whereas someone in the big city might be exposed to different types of plays, different types of music. And so people in general stick to things that they know, right?
Yeah.
So if you can see it on Netflix, you can see Chicago on Netflix.
Right.
If you can see, if you've heard a ton about Wicked, then that's what you want to go see. And so when also people have been traumatized by Shakespeare in school.
Sure.
So,
oh yeah, all the forced reading.
Right.
Yeah,
and
okay.
that's not fun. So
Yeah.
when you hear Shakespeare, you automatically have that response of, oh, no. The only impression I have of this is that it's awful and boring and I hated reading it. And that's because you were just reading it. You didn't actually see it performed.
Right, reading the text straight from the textbook, and textbooks are always very engaging and fulfilling, of course, as opposed to watching a play, which Shakespeare mostly wrote plays, not chapter books. Am I correct on that?
Correct, yeah. So he wrote mostly plays. There are some sonnets there, but 37 plays.
37. That's quite an astounding number. I've written 0 plays. So you got 37 on me, and I didn't live 500 years ago. Now, the thing is, there's a big Shakespeare festival, I'm pretty sure, that still takes place. Is that in Albany?
So the Ashland, Oregon Shakespeare Festival.
Yeah.
So they perform Shakespeare all year. It's a big focus for them. And we're excited to bring Shakespeare here because UACT hasn't performed a Shakespeare show in about 20 years.
Oh.
Yep.
So do you think by doing this now, you're going to encapsulate some more audience interest by doing this, breaking the mold of, hey, we're going to do a 20th century melodrama, or we're going to do something that everybody's already seen, or we're going to do a play that is comical, lighthearted, even like the SpongeBob musical, which was really fun, by the way, but very accessible to this community because most people in Roseburg have some kind of access to television, which is fascinating. I'm glad you brought this up because the only way I was able to even see Hamilton to get any context at all was online.
Disney Plus, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so going to New York to watch these big elaborate plays is not possible for many people. It's just too expensive, which is why for many hundreds of years, only the elite could go to the opera, could go to see these big musicals. So Roseburg putting on these shows of high quality is really important, even if it's not as popular. But remember, been writing for 500 years. There's something there, you guys.
Yeah.
So I really hope you go and check that out. Who was it? It was a board decision, right, for this one?
Yeah, so the directors submit shows that they're interested in with, the budget and the vision and how they're going to pull this off. And there is a segment of the board of directors that is the play selection committee. And so they are given scripts. They are expected to read everything and decide the season. So they decided to take a chance, which sounds really silly coming from Shakespeare, but they decided to accept this play and kind of bring the comedy of Shakespeare back in iambic pentameter to Roseburg.
Whose idea was it to bring Shakespeare back, especially this play?
Me. So I submitted the show. We are in a fortunate position now. Sometimes we have show ideas and then we look for directors. But oftentimes, as in the case with this, is the directors submit the show that they want to do.
Oh.
So I submitted Midsummer Night's Dream. And
if I didn't ask, who's directing this show?
Oh, me.
Oh, neat. Right. So the director of the show is here on our show. It's fantastic. Tell me about, please tell me about working with the actors and actresses. I don't know who's in the show. I haven't looked at the cast list, but how has the experience been working with the cast? I'm curious.
While there have been struggles with illness and a really, really complicated rehearsal schedule, because I'm so grateful that so many of the actors I have are insanely talented, but they are also, how do I put this? They have busy lives because they have their act together.
Yep.
No pun intended. So they have a lot of conflicts going on. So it was difficult to try to wrangle everything, but I've really enjoyed the cast. The cast is stellar. We have Bob Moreland, who you may know from Every Christmas Story Ever Told and Then Some. He's played Scrooge multiple times when we've done A Christmas Carol. He was also Theo and Vincent Van Gogh in the production of Vincent that we did several years back.
Yep.
Gary Goman, who has been a longtime staple at UACT. There is Tom Dunbar, Brian Simhauser. Tom Dunbar was Gaston in our recent production of Beauty and the Beast at the college. Seriously, this is like an all-star all-star cast, and I couldn't be more excited to work with them.
You've been with UACT for a long time too, haven't you?
Yeah.
How long have you been with UACT for?
About 10 years now, give or take.
When did you come back from your college? When did you come back to Douglas County?
Yeah. So it was 2013. Yeah. So I was right at 10 years now.
Nice. The only reason I ask is I only came back here about 5 years ago. I was at Reed Sport. I mean, they already know, but I don't need to bore you with all the details. But I'm glad that I'm doing this show and running the nonprofit because it gives me an opportunity to meet people like you and to bring more people into the show. I've already met so many nice people, and so we're kind of bridging outside of our comfort zone to go with some more actors and actresses and some more stage performances. It's the Douglas County Music Association, but at the same time, our mission statement is to provide support for artists, musicians, and performers. So artists draw or paint or sculpt, and the musicians play music, and then of course, performers, comedy, magic, stage acting, it's all relevant for what the DCMA wants to support. And for the audience, I'm curious, how the show's already started, correct?
Yes, it has.
And can you tell them how many shows are left? What shows are sold out? What shows are needing more fill? What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. So we run for 3 weekends, and last weekend was our opening weekend. We opened with a solid half house, and then the second night we were almost sold out, and then the third night we didn't have a performance on Easter, so our third performance was Saturday. We were totally sold out, and I just checked earlier today. We have about a half house this coming Thursday, but then Friday and Saturday only have about half a dozen tickets between them, and Sunday's been sold out since before we opened.
Right, so you have some days that are sold out, so obviously there's interest, but then some other days it's kind of like, man, we're still filling the seats. Would you say that's the average response to most shows? Is this the exception to the rule? Or are most shows half houses or most show full houses? What in your opinion and your expertise, what would you think?
Yeah, so UACT seats 98 plus 2 wheelchairs, so 100. Seats 100. And if you are doing so, but we're going to do Mamma Mia, and then COVID happened.
That's right. Yeah.
But in a very recognizable show like that, or Chicago, I can't remember the stats on Chicago when we did it, but Mamma Mia, we were actually 90% sold out before we even opened the run. So that's pretty typical if it's a really popular show. If it's not as popular, even if it's, won a Tony, if it's not as in pop culture, it can be a struggle. For Shakespeare, I anticipated maybe half houses was going to be our ultimate sort of an average, right? So it's been really exciting that people are seeing the amazing set, because the set is totally cool. There's
I've seen pictures, and obviously before the interview we like to show images of what the guests do, what they have done, and I want you to check out the pictures of the set because I was impressed. And I'm critical, and everybody knows that. But I'm not going to say lightly, I was very impressed by the set. It looks very, very convincing. So I'm excited to go. My plan is to go April 23rd, the final show. But so I won't be able to really give a review until the show is over. But that's okay. There'll be plenty more shows, and I'm sure you'll be directing more shows in the future.
Absolutely.
Actually, do you happen to know if you're going to run any more shows in the next year or two?
Oh man, in the next year, it's really tough to tell. Probably not in the next year. But my first directing opportunity was the complete works of William Shakespeare abridged.
So you've spent a lot of time with Shakespeare.
Yes, I absolutely love Shakespeare. That was in about 2017. It's a 90-minute show. You can actually watch it on YouTube.
Oh, can we put a link down here? We'll so when we do the video, the link will pop up somewhere magically here, and you can bloop or whatever, or maybe in the description. Or we're trying to do a better job at making links available so viewers can click or type or copy and paste. So I really want to make sure the audience gets to check that out.
It's very, very funny. The Reduced Shakespeare Company puts it on. It's on YouTube. It's 97 minutes. If you do not like Shakespeare, but you like Whose Line Is It Anyway?, this is the show for you. So people will absolutely love it, and it makes it more accessible for people.
And I'll be honest, I don't know Shakespeare that well because I'm not a playwright, and it's not that I'm not interested, I just don't have a passion for it, so I haven't pursued it. But I do know about like Hamlet, Romeo and Juliet. There's one I'm thinking of right now. I think it's the Merchant of Venice.
Merchant of Venice,
If you could pick 3 more Shakespearean things to do out of the 37 available, what would you choose and why?
Oh man. Okay, so I'm going to start with the big, one of the big ones, Hamlet. That's one that I was in, and I actually got to play Laertes, which is a traditionally male actor. And so I got to learn fencing for it, which was amazing. I would also like to, and I can say it now because we are not in the theater, but Macbeth.
Oh, does that make people upset?
It's bad luck to say it in the theater if that's not the show you're doing.
To say Macbeth?
Yes.
Why?
It's cursed.
I've never heard of this.
It's cursed.
Is there a history with this, or?
Yes, and it's a widely known thing. So sometimes you have to turn 3 times counterclockwise and spit. Ours is that you have to go outside and run around the building 3 times counter or anti-clockwise, and then you have to knock on the door and ask permission before you come back into the theater. It's a superstition thing.
Oh, I'm into that. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I've never heard of any of that. So okay, just to make sure I'm clear and the audience is clear. Y'all don't say Macbeth in the theater if that's not the show you're doing?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
And it's just like when I learned, and maybe Jake knows this, but when I went fishing with my friend Gavin, who's been on the show, I think my friend Dan, who will be on the show someday too, he made a joke about bringing a banana on the boat, and Gavin's eyes got really wide, and he was like, no, don't bring bananas on the boat. And I didn't know this, but bananas on boats are bad luck too.
That's interesting.
Because when they were taken, Gavin explained the whole thing. We were on the boat, and apparently when they would fill these boats with bananas to ship them, they would just find the entire crew dead, and there would be a mystery. Why are these bananas killing these people? The banana spider, that horrible aggressive spider from Brazil that puts its legs up and it would bite everybody on board, and nobody could find it, and so forever bananas are off limits from boats. So thank you for telling me that.
Fair. The origin of that. That's fascinating.
Oh, and also, would you please tell me if this is true, because you're a stage person? Is it, what's the word I'm looking for? Is it bad juju? Mm-hmm. Is it not kosher? Mm-hmm. Is it completely unacceptable to sing or audition a song for the musical that they're putting on? For example, if you're doing Wizard of Oz, you don't want to sing a Wizard of Oz song for your audition.
So it's not that it's unacceptable. There are good things and bad things about it. So, so if you're performing it, everyone knows why you're performing it for auditions, right? But then also, if you sing it badly, that leaves a bad taste in their mouth for the entire show. If you sing it great, but that's not the character you want to be, maybe they can't see you as another character if you sing a particular song. So it's always good it's a safe bet to choose a piece that shows off your range from another similar show.
So, for example, I'm going to go wild this year. I've never auditioned for anything like this, but I'm going to audition for Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
I'm going for Cowardly Lion. I think I can do it. They may have somebody else in mind. There may be somebody that's way more qualified. But my plan was to sing that Cowardly Lion song, and then someone told me, don't do that. You pick a different song. I was thinking Gaston from Beauty and the Beast. Would that be a kind of a good way to demonstrate that character? Or maybe a song that's less goofy? Any thoughts on that?
I think the vocal range is probably really good for that. Mm-hmm. I would consider maybe showing off the different personality of the Cowardly Lion, because Gaston is such an opposite kind of character.
Right.
I would try to find something that would embody the vocal range as well as the character a little bit more, but I still think it's a safe bet if you did a Gaston song.
Well, it's funny because the song Gaston is his friend singing it for the most part. He's got that weird voice, and my goal was to kind of, I don't think whoever is judging is going to watch this, not yet. But my goal was to kind of do both voices to show that diversity of character. I can be this really silly, weird guy who's trying to bring up this macho guy, and I can kind of do both voices. I won't do it here. But I just wanted your take on that. And that's why we invite people to the show. So I can learn. They already know everything. That's why they're here. Looking at the clock, we are almost out of time, but I think we covered some really good ground today.
Absolutely.
Is there anything on your mind that you'd like the audience to know? Is there anything you want to share with me that you're thinking about? But I do want you to go over the dates one more time and which shows need to be filled. But anything else for the audience that you think they should know about you or your stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the show runs through April 23rd. It's a Thursday through Sunday sort of run on the weekends. So you have 2 more weekends left. And Thursday through Saturday is at 7 p.m. And the Sunday matinees are at 2 p.m. The Sundays will sell out, almost guaranteed.
Yeah.
And please, if you've ever thought about auditioning, please follow the UACT Facebook page as well as our Instagram. Go on to UACT-theater, and theater spelled R-E at the end, UACT-theater.com. and follow along there, sign up for our mailing list. So we always love having new people come into the theater and audition. And it's really, people are nervous and understandably so, but we are all just one big happy family and want to see each other succeed. We've even had all guys audition for Steel Magnolias just to have fun during the auditions, and they all dressed in drag, and it was amazing. So we are a great big family there, and we'd love to have more people.
And I do apologize, I didn't let you finish one of the questions I asked you. Oh. The third Shakespeare show. I only let you. We stopped on the second one because I got distracted. Go figure. What would be the third one you would pick?
Oh man, probably either Twelfth Night or Taming of the Shrew.
Nice.
Because those can be really funny, and they have really strong parts for both male and female actors.
I saw Romeo and Juliet at the Ashland thing when I was a teenager, and they had like just these 3 white walls at Inn Fair Verona, and they were wearing like 20th century clothes, and they used like switchblades and stuff instead of, it was really, would you guys ever take an extreme interpretation like that, or do you guys want to keep it like within the box?
It can be challenging to do that in such a small town. I feel like we've kind of pushed the boundary a little bit because we have more era fluid clothing. So it's not like Victorian or ancient Greece or Athens or anything like that. So we've already kind of pushed the envelope there. But I don't think it would inhibit a Shakespeare show being approved if that was a director's vision at all. They just have to kind of present what they had in mind. So who knows? Keep your eyes peeled.
Well, I've been a big supporter of UX. I've been a part of UX shows since I was a kid. Again, I was gone for a long time, about 15 years. When I did a bunch of stuff, came here, UX still going strong. Melody is somebody that I knew when I was a kid. I think she was, she's pretty young when I knew her. We all grew up eventually.
She's still 29.
Yeah, for real. Melody's great. And one of these days we'll have her on the show. I know she's busy because she's the executive director for the whole thing.
And she's part of working on Descendants right now.
Right, and that's actually later in the show, right after we're done here, we're going to be interviewing the middle school music teachers, the middle school choir directors for the Descendants, because this episode is all about these big shows this month. April is shows month. I don't think anybody told me, but April is big show month. May is like educational show month. High school band, middle school band and choir. My choir will be doing a bunch of stuff, whatever. So yeah, a lot of stuff happening, especially this early in the spring. Sam, I want to say thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming on the show, and we'd love to have you again soon.
Thanks so much for having me.
And I'm looking forward to seeing your show. We're back, and we're so glad to be here. Looks a little different around here. I feel you on that. And we have another special guest. We just got done talking to Sam Starns. We were going to have 2 guests today, but one of them couldn't make it. For the audience, would you please introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Stacey Atwell Keister, and the kids call me Miss AK, and I teach choir and drama at Fremont Middle School.
Now, this is a pretty cool stage that we're on. Usually we shoot episodes at the Gene Bechtel School in their theater room. Miss Stacey, or we said Miss AK, right? Mm-hmm. Why are we here in this area? What's going on?
Well, the middle schools in Roseburg have been working really hard to put on this production of The Descendants, which is a very cool Disney movie that was made into a musical. And kids from Fremont are in it, and Joe Lane, and even some homeschooled kids. Nice. This is a musical that's designed to bring in everyone in the Roseburg community who would like to be in a musical.
Could you guess how many members are in the cast?
Well, we cast over 40, and I think we had a couple who weren't able to make it all the way through, but sure. we've got almost 40 in the cast right now, which is huge.
Can you tell the audience a little bit about this particular, it's a musical, right? Mm-hmm. Can you tell the audience a little bit about what they should expect when they come to see the show?
The Descendants is about the children of the villains from the movies you watched as a kid. So we've got Maleficent's daughter, and we have Jafar's son, and we have Cruella de Vil's son, and we have the bad queen from Snow White. Her daughter is there too.
So it's a lot of mainliner characters, children's.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Cruella de Vil. Yes. Did I say that already?
Yeah, I think so. Well, actually, I'm not 100%. I heard you say a few. I heard Jafar and a couple others, but no, it's all good. Yeah, no, it's totally fine. Now, I am curious about a couple other things. If you would care to explain to the audience.
Sure.
Why do you teach middle school? I find middle school kids to be somewhat difficult because it's a hard time for them, and it's kind of makes it a hard time for me. But you're so good with middle school kids. I'm curious, why middle school? Why is that your passion and your direction?
Well, you know, you see a lot of middle school kids just sort of hit this age where they have to figure out who they are. And I like to be there in that time to remind them that how they are is just fine. Whatever they're trying out, as long as it's not dangerous, it's okay. It's okay to be you.
Right.
And sometimes they don't get that message from their own hearts. They think then it's not okay to be them. So it's really important to have other people around saying, you can make it through this really hard time. And yes, they're squirrely, and yes, they're goofy, and yes, they talk too much, and all those kind of things. But that's just part of the age, and it makes it so exciting to be a part of their, like, waking up to the world around them.
You know, we had Camille Smicker from the high school on the program when they were doing their teenage show. I'm forgetting the name right this second, but it's a show.
13.
Yes,
musical.
13, and it was her explanation was it's fun to watch teenagers play characters that are also teenagers, because she explained in detail that a lot of times in plays and musicals and art, especially in the teenage years, you're projecting yourself as maybe like older characters, like far older. In fact, if you're a teenager having to play like a grandfather or something like that, but having a musical or a show where the kids get to just act their actual age, and you know, all those little innuendos of being a teenager. So yeah, so I can totally understand where you're coming from with working with that young energy. And especially now you're talking about the descendants, the kids, they are the kids of these Disney characters, which in some senses almost kind of even cooler. But I didn't get a chance to see 13, unfortunately. I wish I could have gone to that. But I am gonna come see this show. And then when I do get to see it, I'll do a pretty cool review about it on our broadcast. Also, so while we were talking off set, you mentioned that this is a collaborative effort. Can you actually explain to the audience what you mean by that?
Sure. So for a long time, UACT and Jolene worked together to make this musical every spring. And then after COVID was starting to lift, they invited Fremont to join them. And now we're all sort of working together to get here on time and have rehearsals and work together. And it's a good reminder that the kids may be rivals in sports, but when it comes to music, they're gonna have to work together. And it's good to get to know each other. Those are the kids they're gonna be sitting next to in choir or sitting next to in band. And there's no need to have any kind of negativity or rivalry when it comes to music and theater.
I will have to completely agree. We play a game in my class at UCrest where I only have 4 rules. Be a listener, be safe, be kind, and be a team player. In fact, in my opinion, the 4th rule, being a team player, is the most important. You're gonna have to get along with your colleagues, even if you don't agree, even if you don't like each other. Learning to respectfully coexist in this world is really important, at least in my opinion. So I appreciate you sending that message home to families.
Absolutely. I say in my class, you don't have to be friends when you leave this room, but in this room, everybody is friends.
Yeah.
And it really, it works out. It evens out a lot of things that might otherwise blow up into something bigger.
Which middle school choir do you direct?
Well, I direct all 3 choirs at the middle school, and we have an exploring choir for 6th graders. We have a concert choir for kids who don't want to go to festivals and they don't want to audition and they don't want to do anything too high pressure.
Sure.
They just love to sing.
Oh, which school are you at?
Fremont.
Oh, very cool. And then so Emily Cochran is at Jolene, which is where we are right now. Why was Jolene selected to be the facilitator of the show as opposed to Fremont or somewhere else?
You know, I don't know the origins of that, but I do know it probably has to do with this stage. Because Fremont has a stage like this, which is kind of cool. It pulls out from the wall. It works kind of like old-fashioned bleachers in the gym. But the way that ours is set up at Fremont, it's against the long wall. And if we had it pulled out all the time like they do here, we wouldn't have any room for dinner.
Oh, so it's
for lunch.
It's constantly pulling the stage out and putting it away, whereas this can actually just stay out.
This can stay out all the time.
That makes a lot of sense. Well, that's perfect. Okay. I don't know a lot about Disney. I mean, I do enjoy some Disney things. Whose idea was it to bring this project to fruition? Who came up with this idea?
Well, we all had a Zoom meeting at the beginning of the year and said, hey, what show do you want to do this year? And we looked through what was available, and we thought about the kids that probably would audition, and then we decided this was our favorite.
When you say we all, is that just you and Emily?
That would be Emily and Melody, who's the director. and me. And then Vic Lene is the choreographer. And then we have Jerry, who does all the sets. We were all in on that Zoom call.
Oh, fantastic. You know, I never liked Zoom and I still don't, but I can see how having a quick meeting like that could be actually beneficial instead of having to get into a room and kind of hash things out. Hey, let's just throw together the Zoom call and let's see what we want to do this year.
Yeah, if I never have to do another class on Zoom again, I'll be happy. But
now, for the audience, are okay. We're gonna put a little thing right here that's gonna have all the details. We received flyers and some pamphlets to put on the show. But for the audience that is a listening audience only, can you please tell us the dates and times of the shows and where, please?
Sure. It's in the auxiliary gym at Joe Lane. It opens on Thursday, April 20th at 7 p.m. We have another show on Friday and Saturday, April 21st and 22nd, also at 7 p.m.
I really appreciate you coming on the show today. You are a choir teacher, and so I imagine that means you're not doing choreography or lines. Are you just music, or are you doing other things too?
For this production, I am just music.
Okay.
I just taught music.
And you and Emily are sharing that position.
Actually, in this case, Emily is called the producer.
Okay.
And she's doing a lot of really cool stuff that she loves to do that a lot of people don't like to do. And that's real organizational stuff and T-shirts and keeping track of all of the props and sets and stuff and sending out all the emails, all the like, oh God, I forgot to do that things that just she like kind of goes behind us and picks up all the pieces and remembers all the things
so
to do.
You're rehearsing the music mostly, or is there anything else that you're doing for the set?
Right now, I'm just music.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so Emily's not teaching the choirs at all?
And for this show, yep,
Okay.
that's the case.
I am assuming that we should be expecting some powerful voices on stage next week.
There are some awesome singers, and you know, some of them are in the choirs at our schools, and some of them came from nowhere. Some of them are in 6th grade, and we're like, where did that voice come from, and why aren't you in choir?
Yeah, for real.
And some of them are like band kids who have really good ears, a really good ear for harmony, a really good ear for singing, but they just haven't ever been in a production like this before. So it's really cool to see who comes out for these.
And I don't mean to brag or gloat, but walking in here and seeing half of the cast are my kids from Hillcrest, and it was like a mutual kind of I'm happy to see you kind of thing. I don't expect teenagers to get out of their seats and run at me like they did when they were kindergartners. And if that's never happened to you, it's adorable. It's also kind of a distraction. Like I can't go anywhere at Hillcrest without 1 or 2 kids just jumping out of their seat and running because kids just like to run and hug. And it's fine. A middle school kid's kind of like, oh, like whatever. I mean, I like you, but like not, like go away. It's kind of a weird dynamic. So.
If you have candy, they'll come running.
Oh, candy! Gotta have candy or kids don't do anything. It's true. Stacey, for the audience, did you have any final comments you'd like to throw out there? Anything you want to share about you or the stage or the show that the audience should know? Anything out there?
Well, I just love to work with these kids. They work so hard. I have never had a case where you've thrown something at a kid, like try this, and they've been like, no, I don't feel like it. They work so hard for their teachers, and they learned amazing dances, and they learned all of this music. I just love to work with them so much.
Oh, and what we'll do someday, what I'd like to do is I'd like to do an actual show with just you in the Gene Bechtel School. This particular interview that we're doing is for this show, and that's why I was kind of trying to get both of you just so the audience can meet you guys and be like, hey, by the way, these are your middle school choir directors. We've already had Trevor, the band director from Jolene on the show. I would like to get the other band director from Fremont on the show soon. I just need to get in touch with them. But Stacey, really appreciate you coming on the show.
Absolutely. Thanks for doing this.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this production, and I'm looking forward to seeing my kids succeed. So thank you for being here.
Sure thing.
Well, that does seem to be all the time we have left for today. Tune in next week for another exciting episode of The WITZ, where you can check out everything regarding art, performance, and music right here in Douglas County, Oregon. Once more, our production is brought to you by 10 Down Bowling, New Visions Eye Care, Edward Jones, the Gene Bechtel School for Music, Spiderking Studios, and the Douglas County Music Association. We very much appreciate you tuning in today. Tune in next week. We'd love to see you. Until then, bye everyone, and thanks.